So this is British Vogue, September '93. I'm technically the second issue I worked on, because I think I closed the August issue, but this is really the first issue. I inherited this beautiful cover shot by Mario Testino of Christy Turlington, styled by a very talented Jane Pickering, who was a great stylist at the fashion editor at the magazine. So let's have a look through. The usual huge raft of 90s ads. Helena there and Hermes ad. It looks like another world these days. Yeah, I'm joining the magazine as art director. That's Craig McDean picture of Rachel Weisz that I must have commissioned. I'd introduced Gill into the magazine, the typeface Gill, which I loved, and I love the fact it's an English typeface for British Vogue. I don't know what these funny ads doing in the front of the book. I don't remember that. But anyway, there's a education section. So this is where we start the kind of fashion well of the magazine. This picture is credited to Stephen Klein, I think. I have no memory of it. Maybe we commissioned a Steve Klein shoot and this was the only picture we used, because I don't know where it exists anywhere else as a fashion story. Anyway, then we go into this lead story, which obviously is the kind of cover story, which is Christy Turlington, shot by Mario Testino, starred by Jane Pickering. Hair, Mark Lopez, makeup, Leslie Chilks, a really great kind of British Vogue team. These things laid themselves out. I loved the Gill, using this idea of Englishness. I love the binocular G in the Gill. And obviously a kind of a, what do you call it, like a British baronial hall kind of upmarket, or market's the wrong word, sort of would-be aristocratic, very kind of trad British Vogue story. So this is a beautiful Cecilia Chancellor, photographed by Michael Janssen, styled by Kate Phelan. You couldn't really get more British than sort of Cecilia Chancellor at this point. She's such a kind of English, kind of rose type beauty. Michael used to do these quite sort of thoughtful stories of girls staring into the distance. His work changed dramatically. He had a huge love of Formula One and a collection of Ferraris, Michael Janssen, and went on to do very, very sexy pictures. But at this time, he was kind of doing these kind of romantic sort of sagas. I think Kate brought him out of Marie Claire. I mean, they were very kind of beautiful but very simple things, and he became much more kind of high charged in his imagery as he went on. Carla Bruni again in a rather strange story. I think it looks like who shot this? Neil Kirk, very underestimated photographer, a bit of a staple of the magazine, very overlooked, but used to do these kind of pictures that everybody loved. I mean, how kind of 80s and 90s does this all look? And I like this in Caroline Charles, Bruce Oldfield, real kind of classic old British designers in here. This, I think, this layout sort of pointed the way I really wanted to go. This kind of super simplicity. And again, using the Gill font very, very simply. The idea was that, these clothes had come down the catwalk and they were quite kind of severe and quite kind of vaguely ecclesiastical and kind of, and the question is, are they attractive? Do you think I'm sexy? I love the white out of black, like having the word appearing out of her, holding the copy. It's very much what I wanted to do with the magazine. more kind of traditional stuff really. So the next one, this is a story about Tina Modotti, a photographer. I think this story, I can't find it in the text, but I think this story has one of our most iconic errors in it. I think somewhere in here we say that Franco lost the Spanish Civil War, when of course actually he won it. Again, using the gill, I quite like these really simple kind of things. I like that it's all mono. We've done without the drop fat, really. I used to love doing stories like this. So this is just 2 pictures shot by Albert Watson in New York, probably on the back of another shoot. Talks about hats. And then the second one, I commissioned this illustration from Francois Berthaud. I don't like illustration, and I very rarely commission it. You can't really work with it in the way you can photography. However, I love the work of Francois Berthaud. He was a friend of mine when I lived in Milan, and I think him and Mats Gustafsson, the 2 illustrators that are like head and shoulders above their contemporaries. And I love this picture about boots. A rather beautiful Jacques Olivar picture of Nadia. And then I think this is Neil Cook, probably done on the back of that other shoot earlier. And I like the idea of using multiple photographers across one story. Photographers hate it, but I think I quite liked it. This is another picture by Robert Irvman, who'd also shot the Do You Think I'm Sexy picture. He was a great photographer. Cecilia on Robert. I love these simple layouts. Yeah. Beautiful parallel reverse shot of Kirsten Owen. So that's it. That's my first one out of the trap. That was my first issue with British Vogue. I ended up working with the magazine, or staying at the magazine, for 17 years. It was a bore.